One. Good evening and happy new year. This is the first of many podcasts for this year for 2022. We had a bit of a break over the holidays and we are reuniting once again with our family member, our best mate, and someone we absolutely love. Leon, happy new year. How are you?
Thank you. Happy New Year to you guys too. I wish it was under better circumstances for you guys because you guys didn't exactly celebrate New Year's the best possible way you could, unfortunately.
No, but
that's another story for another day.
That is a story for another day. All right, so for the first of many in 2022, the topic I have chosen for us to do, and I know it's kind of repeated, but it's a lot of fun. Today we're doing Megxit.
Recycling is the word.
So this is what I've gathered from my...
What day is the normal recycling day for you guys?
Whenever basically they take our stuff, that's our recycling day. I don't even know. That's the thing. I put it in the bin, someone else takes it away.
So this is what I've got from my research. Harry and Meghan stood down as senior working royals in 2019, and the tabloids dubbed it Megxit. Harry and Meghan left due to, quote, racism and bullying towards Meghan. They wanted a quiet life, but they chose to remain in the spotlight in America. First question is, could Meghan or Harry have the same impact that they have had without their royal titles?
Leon, do you want to answer this question first?
Well, obviously they've given up their titles, obviously, but I think there's some people in the media that are still going to hound Meghan and also Harry, but I know Harry's been wanting to get out of that spotlight ever since Diana died, because I remember his reaction to it. He was furious that the media hounded Diana into the ground, unfortunately, and now they're doing the same for an American woman, unfortunately. And I'm assuming he's thinking that the media are going to do the same to Meghan is what the British tabloids did to Diana, and that's what I'm worried about. If it actually happens, that'd be a sad story.
See, I don't think they've really given them up. Not really. I mean, I think they've told the Queen, hey, we're giving them up, but they still want to be known, Harry still wants to be known as a prince, even though it's not under an HRH title. And Meghan still wants to be known as the Duchess of Sussex. So they're not really giving up many titles here. I mean, they're still wanting to hold on to their royal title. So I question, we all know that Meghan's a star and that she's made her way in Hollywood and stuff like that. But I question if she was to go and start up her own charity, would it be as successful with her just doing it under her own name, not as a royal or ex-royal, but just her under her own name? And would Harry, if he was stripped of all titles that the royals had given him, even if he was born into a royal family, if he was just some Joe Blow off the street, would anyone really take him seriously? And that's a real question, because it's well, apart from you being related to the Queen, of course, and of course of you being related to your brother, who's most likely going to be king, and of course you married you're obviously Charles's son. Without that title, you wouldn't have been given all of these other benefits from the royal family. So if you didn't have any of those other titles, who would you be? And the question is, I don't think he would be really anyone unless he worked hard for it himself, because everything's been pretty much, with the exception of his military stuff, everything has been handed to him on a silver platter.
Didn't I hear one stage that people wanted to strip Harry of his military honors and stuff like that? I don't believe that. I believe I've heard this. Have you heard this before? I think you might have.
And I didn't think that was right, to be honest. I didn't like that the Queen just decided to strip Harry of his military honors, because he fought alongside real soldiers and he fought in real battles. And I didn't think it was right that he would just have his military titles just taken away from him, or military medals taken away from him when he clearly earned them. It wasn't just given them because he was a prince. He clearly earned them. That's the difference between just giving handed something because you're a blood relative of someone and actually fighting, in an actual war and earning them. And I didn't think that was right, to be perfectly honest. I thought that was completely immoral that he was stripped of those titles purely based of the fact that he ran away from his home country.
This is what I think, is that without their royal titles, I mean, sure, they're not using His Royal Highness or Her Royal Highness, but would they make an impact? As Bucket said, I have to agree on that part, is no. There would be, as Bucket said, just like every other Joe Blow, celebrity, famous, trying to put their name out there, trying to get a brand going. Let's be real here, all right? He's British. He's born into the wealthiest family in the world. He's Prince Charles's son and Princess Diana's son. He is His Royal Highness. Even though he no longer uses that title, on the birth of his children with Lilibet, Lily Diana, and his son Archie Mountbatten Windsor, on their birth certificates, he's known as His Royal Highness Prince Henry Harry, Duke of Sussex. And with Meghan, instead of Rachel Meghan Markle, which is Rachel's her first name, she's known as Her Royal Highness Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, which is contradictory or hypocritical when it comes to your titles on the birth certificate of your children. But without those, they're still known as the Duke and the Duchess of Sussex. So with the both of them now in America, with the whole Spotify deal, with the whole Archwell, with the whole, he has 2 jobs now, with the whole him being a military man, I have to agree with Buckets, is that I don't think it was fair that he was rightly stripped off his military titles and medals, because, as Bucket said, he did fight in actual wars. He went to Afghanistan. He served his country with honor and distinction and made his country proud. And unfortunately, when that was stripped of him, I was really upset, because I thought, with the whole Invictus Games that's happening this year, he's the one who's the actual founder of Invictus Games. And I recently read that he said that he feels sad that he can no longer use his military titles or medals when it comes to helping American soldiers who are wounded in the war for Invictus Games, and, going to charities and whatnot. But I just think without their titles, no, I don't think they'd have that much of an impact. I mean, let's look at it this way. She's an American actress from Suits, and she's a self-made millionaire. But the thing is, marrying into the royal family is, with them stepping down. I mean, dare I say this is just an opinion, and I don't want to offend or upset or anger anyone. It's just my opinion. But the whole Prince Andrew scandal, this is what bothers me the most, is why is Prince Andrew allowed to keep his Royal Highness title, his military medals, his military titles, the Duke of York? Why is he allowed to keep all of that with everything surrounding him? But Harry is not allowed to have his Royal Highness titles to use. Sure, he goes by H or by the Duke of Sussex. I just think that's contradictory and hypocritical that he's not allowed to have those. My 2 cents.
Okay. So
Next question. Is Meghan using different, quote, woke cards when it comes to such as racism, sexism, her being a mother, and other forms of discrimination in order to fight the royal family without firing a single bullet? Is Meghan using different woke cards? Because let's look at it this way. We know
well, we know that sorry to interrupt you, when basically she did the Oprah interview, One thing I actually noticed is that she was using a lot of cards that, from a media perspective, were absolutely destroying destroying the reputation of the royals. I mean, there were questions about racism, with questioning the color of her children's skin. They were using of course, the pregnant mother card, saying, yeah, she's discriminating or whatever. That she was using what I found interesting was the fact that she was using the sex card, like she was being ultimately discriminated against because she was a female, which is very post-feminism. There are lots of cards that she was pulling out that a lot of people in this day and age are very sensitive about, that would just naturally support Meghan as this warrior, or this warrior that's being victimized by an institution, that the royals just really didn't know how to fight, except to say, we're not racists, we're not sexist, we're just human people, we're a family. And unfortunately, because it's been an institution that's been going around for hundreds and hundreds of years and hundreds of thousands of years, people pretty much like to take the side of the like to take Meghan's side, because she's now seen as a victim for feminists as opposed to a powerhouse. But I think secretly Meghan is an absolute powerhouse, but she plays out the role of a victim. What do you think?
Yeah, I actually believe that you're right about that. But my issue with a lot of the stuff is, like, she's playing they're all playing the victim card. But the problem is, when we started hearing that victim card being played in Australia, I would have heard it about, it would have been about 2010 maybe. I think it might have been the Julia Gillard era or something like that, where Julia Gillard would say that I'm going to call out sexism when I see it. And you want to know how many times she called out sexism when she saw it? None. Unfortunately, it was a female. If there was someone being sexist to a female, then she would call it out. But if a female was being sexist to a male, do you want to know how many times it was called out? None. My problem is the sexism card has been played so much. It has been overflogged in recent times that people are just tired of it. They're delusioned. I can't remember what's the word I'm looking for here. They're kind of disillusioned with that word now, with that sexism word. It's like, oh yeah, you're playing it again. Here we go. Get it over and
it's
done
quite
with.
scary, in a way. If you're called sexist, I mean, that's how you castrate a person within one move. If you're labeled as sexist, I mean, the modern equivalent to that is basically, committing genocide to the Jews. And that's what you're referred to. You're referred to as someone who's a Nazi, who's into killing Jews. Let's just basically forget the fact that, genocide was a terrible fact, a terrible thing that happened in our world's history. But apparently, calling someone sexist is something that can be compared with killing 100 million Jews.
I get that. I understand that. I understand your argument there. But, once somebody nails you to that proverbial cross, you're done. That's you forever. You are known as that person. And if you're not that person, what does it matter? You've already been labeled by it. And there is a point where you can actually go too far, that people can actually go too far, and now people are being sued because of stuff like that. But it doesn't really matter, because, you might win, but you're still labeled a sexist forever.
What I think is, I mean, I agree with both of your valid points. You're both very strong at that. What I think is that Meghan, before she joined the royal family, she was already doing stuff for UNICEF. She was already speaking at women's conferences, the UN conferences, global impact changes. And in the royal family, if you join the royal family, you no longer get to vote. You no longer have a political voice. You follow decades and decades and decades and centuries old rules and formats and regulations. And when, take for example, Catherine was, dating Prince William, it took him 8 years to propose to her. And then she joined the royal family, done the whole etiquette classes, princess classes. And, now Catherine's voice is more prominent because she's going to be queen consort one day. And she's done the royal family proud. But Meghan, I think, as Philip said, she's a powerhouse. And she's very outspoken politically. She's very outspoken when it comes to social issues as racism, sexism, feminism. When they moved to America, she was campaigning for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And her and Harry was seen in their backyards sitting on a bench, telling people to vote. They were calling people,
She's just very, very much an influencer.
Yeah, very much an influence, and she has influence over her husband. And the royal family did not see that as something good, and trying to warn Harry and saying, listen, you're a member of the royal family, you have no say politically, you have no voice. And the fact that when Bucket said yes, sure, when it came to the color of the skin of their child, to being racist towards Meghan, to the bullying from the paparazzi, the bullying from the UK tabloids. Mind you, she's actually won a few cases now, and recently she won a case against the UK tabloid where they had to apologize, take back,
yes, I remember that,
pay her out.
Wasn't that a front page headline or something, that organization that had been successfully sued by Meghan? Wasn't that the main headline on their paper, that they had to forcefully apologize?
That's right.
For the outrageous comments that they've made.
That's
This is why the tabloids. I don't read the tabloids, to be honest. That's just gossip. Most of it's crap. I mean, who was it? Wasn't there an incident with Rove McManus or something lately, or something in Australia? Or I can't remember which celebrity it was, but the point is, he openly said that it was garbage, and he sued them. I think he sued an Australian tabloid as well. But I don't like the idea that Harry and Meghan are telling people to go out and I suppose in a way it's a 50-50. This is a 50-50 to me, right? The royals, or in this case Meghan and Harry, telling people to get out and vote, that's fine. I agree with that. But they have no say. They shouldn't have any say on who to vote for. They should not be telling people which way to vote. They should vote without. People are going to go voting in an election. You vote with your heart. What you believe, not what people are trying to tell you. Like everybody vote here, and we could take this person out. No, you vote with your heart, not with what people tell you to.
Well, here's a flip side of the coin, right? What if Harry and Meghan supported Donald Trump?
Actually, good question.
And, so that means all these people that basically see Meghan as this feminist powerhouse, right, that basically see supporting Donald Trump, might actually vote for Donald Trump because they support Meghan. So that's why it's really interesting that I don't think that Meghan or Harry should really have any sort of influential
you mean influential role?
Voice in politics at all, because they're banking on wokeism, okay, to basically choose their noble seat on who should win the election. And it's actually quite scary because, I mean, money can be moved over very easily to say Meghan and Harry to say, hey, I'll pay you guys like $1 million if you support me in your campaign. And purely based on that support, people will just vote for whoever Meghan and Harry support. It happens all the time. It's happened with Chuck Norris. It's happened with Arnold Schwarzenegger. There are so many are stars that have literally got money from politicians to say, I support this person. And then automatically they've become a massive powerhouse of influence. And that is basically the difference between a presidency and a non-presidency.
Exactly.
I wonder how many people it would have shifted. I don't know if it would have shifted many people if Meghan says, vote for Donald Trump, because we have heard audio tapes of Donald Trump being, quite frankly, misogynistic, right? We have heard that. And if Meghan said that, she'd be viewed as a hypocrite by the US media as well as the British media.
We've also seen examples of Donald Trump producing 3 rape victims that apparently got raped by Bill Clinton. And a lot of people supported Donald Trump because he produced 3 rape victims of the Clintons. So that's another thing. And a lot of people would say, well, not that I want to talk about Donald Trump, because it's not really Donald Trump segment topic, but a lot of people,
this is not Dongsit. This is Megxit.
But a lot of people basically said, well, there's a difference between acting and locker room talk, and there is. So influencing on political parties or people, again, is a really strong suit. And Meghan's been putting her hand in a lot of political parties against the approval of the royal family.
And the thing is, she's very, as I said, she's very woke. And the Harry that the world knew, the fans knew, that people knew about the royal family. People loved Harry pre-Meghan. He was never woke. He was always seen smiling, shaking hands, hugging people, meeting his charity requirements, making speeches, photo ops, things like that. But marrying Meghan in such a rush that he's kind of taken on that sort of, I'm woke because of my partner. I'm woke because of these issues. And he actually said something recently which shocked me, which says, if you leave your job, you'll be so much more happier and calmer. And it's just, there's so many people out there without a job at the moment because of this pandemic. And for him to front and say, look, leave your jobs, you'll be much, much happier, you'll be better off. I think he really needs to have a strong figure like his grandmother, who's the queen.
He's not going to get it from his dad, because his dad's just as bloody woke these days. He jet sets around the world talking about the environment, when how much carbon dioxide is he polluting into the air with his plane trips. He's a hypocrite.
That's it.
Just like Harry's a hypocrite at the moment.
He's complaining all the time about how much chemicals that we dump into the sea, and therefore our fish is completely contaminated, or the sea is completely contaminated, and it's in our waterways, which is a really good point. But how many times have we seen Prince Charles get in a highly fueled personal jet,
private jet, just jet set around the world, tell us how we're destroying the environment while he's in the planes himself.
The environment, in style.
That guy burns a lot of hot air by opening his mouth.
So
let's look at the next question, which I did some research on. Now, the question I have is Meghan Markle another Wallace Simpson, or does she have more royal entitlements than Wallace Simpson actually had? And the reason why I say that, because if you look at history, the Queen's uncle, Edward VIII, who abdicated his throne as king to marry Wallace Simpson, an American socialite. And instead of living in England, he went to live in America. Now, is Meghan another Wallace Simpson? Is history repeating itself?
See, I don't think she is. I mean, the only thing that Wallace Simpson and Meghan have in common is that they're both from America. He's not, she hasn't married a potential king, because Harry can never be king. And so Harry hasn't chosen to abdicate. But the other thing that's actually really, really important to remember is that Meghan actually has a lot of royal blood in her already. Okay. If you actually look at the family tree, you'll actually find that Meghan actually has more royal blood in her than Kate.
That's right. From what the research I did last year, which is, I believe, and you can fact check this because I've seen it online, I'm not sure if it's accurate, but Meghan and Harry, I believe, are 17th cousins. And Catherine and William, I think, are 13th cousins. And Diana and Camilla are 7th cousins. And Camilla and Charles are 7th cousins.
Oh man, I think that's where the song "I'm My Own Grandpa" comes into it, because they've got so many cousins, so many relatives. I wouldn't be surprised they end up marrying each other for somehow in the royal family, because that bloodline is just really, really weird. I just had a quick look at the Wallace Simpson. Wallace Simpson actually married 2 royals. How weird's that? She married Ernest Aldrich and also Prince Edward, the Duke of Windsor.
That's crazy. So if it didn't work the first time, it worked the second time.
And that was her second and third marriages too. Her first marriage was to an American bloke. So
because she's a twice divorcee, and back in that era, in that timeline, divorcees weren't allowed to marry royals. It wasn't very common. It was very taboo. And Camilla was a divorcee, again, taboo. She married Prince Charles down the line. Meghan Markle, once divorced, taboo, marrying a prince. This thing is,
another thing that's sorry about that. Another thing that's crazy about the Wallace Simpson marriage situation, right? She married Ernest Aldrich Simpson back in 1928, divorced in 1937. She married Prince Edward, Duke of Windsor, in 1937. So she basically divorced one prince and straight to another prince right afterward on the rebound.
She likes her princes.
But that's why
isn't that the inspiration for that Two Princes song by Spin Doctors or something?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's the inspiration of the French Prince of Bel-Air, but anyway.
That's why I'm asking, is Meghan Markle another Wallace Simpson? I mean, is history repeating itself? Let's look at the facts here. There's very eerie similarities. Twice divorced, once divorced, married a prince. Got the title Duchess of Windsor, got the title Duchess of Sussex. Both married into the same royal family. Both men moved to America for their wives. Eerie similarities.
But if you're looking at royal blood, okay, like born into a royal family, Wallace Simpson was not born into a royal family, although she had 2 affairs with 2 royals. Meghan, however, was. Meghan has a lot of royal family in her. And if it wasn't for the fact that she was born in America, if she was born in England, there is a really, really, really high chance that she could have be maybe 8th in line to the throne or 9th in line to the throne if she married the right person. That's why I'm saying, apart from the fact that she was born in the US, she already came from a royal stock.
Yes. Next question.
Sorry, before that, by the way, you know, obviously what I mentioned about the Wallace Simpson moved on from one prince like straight away to another, basically from one marriage straight to another. Meghan Markle went from one marriage in 2013 to Prince Harry in 2018. So there's a 5-year gap. So I don't know if it's going to go. She didn't exactly go from one marriage straight to the next. So I think that's one difference between Meghan Markle and the Wallace Simpson.
Next question is Meghan is described as a quote social climber to get to the top, but our royal family members just quote social climbers, i.e. Camilla, Princess Diana. Like, is she a social climber?
I think they're all social climbers. Like, okay, this is the thing. Like, no one picks on Kate when it comes to social climbing, but she's done exactly that. Okay, she's married um, Prince William, and she one day will be queen.
Queen consort.
And there's Diana, okay, married Charles. Okay, no one talks about how she's socially climbed. And also, but for some reason, we don't talk about Camilla either. And no one talks about how she's socially climbed. And if you want to basically want my honest opinion, all of the royals that want some sort of piece of the pie have socially climbed by marriage. In fact, if you really want to go back, I mean, King Henry VIII was socially climbing everywhere around the world, but no one wants to talk about that. So, like, I think all of the royals, including the Queen herself, have socially climbed one way or the other.
The reason why I think I asked that, Buckets, is because if we look at the facts, she could be labeled a social climber, social climber, because don't forget, after they left, there was a book that was written on their behalf called Finding Freedom. And that book was explosive. And I don't know if this is fact. Again, it's just an opinion piece, just my opinion. I don't want to offend anyone, but apparently there was a rumor that both Meghan and Harry helped to write that book or give influence to that book. I mean, that's where their Lifetime movie, Harry and Meghan Escaping the Palace on Lifetime, was made. It was the third installment because it was all about, they wanted to add their book Finding Freedom about them and about what happened. That's why I was asking that. Is she a social climber? What do you think?
I'm not exactly sure if she's well, as far as Meghan is concerned, I think she is, because she went from Hollywood to royalty. So whether or not I don't believe she would see it as that, because that's how it inadvertently happened. She went from Hollywood to being a royal. So I don't believe that she would have seen it that way. And Diana, she only married once, and everybody loved Diana.
I mean, I
the
think we all
Queen.
love Diana.
What about the Queen? She inadvertently became, well, obviously she became the Queen because the King died during a combat, I believe it was. I can't remember the exact story about it, but she was told that she was the Queen because she was now the Queen of England because the King had died overseas or something along those lines. But and it's hard to say because I don't know if she was right ready for that, but she handled that. The Queen had handled that brilliantly. She knew how to handle it.
But she was trained at birth.
Yeah, she was trained by, but the thing is, right, she found out, if you have Netflix and you watch The Crown, all 4 seasons, at the beginning, she was, I think she had just married Prince Philip and the Duke of Edinburgh, the late Duke of Edinburgh. They were in Africa or South Africa at the time, and they were holidaying, and she found out through a phone call from her home or from her office, and was told that her father had passed away, to come home urgently. And at the tender age of 19, she was just a teenager, not even 20 yet. I mean, she has...
That goes along with what I was saying, yeah.
Yeah, she has... The Queen, may God bless her, she's 95 now. And she's still carrying on like a trooper. She's still carrying on her engagements, whether it's face-to-face or whether it's via Zoom at home, meeting people, knighting people, speaking to people, having people, interviewing them over Zoom. She even said in her speech, I dedicate my service, should it be long and short, to your service. And she dedicated her service to God, to the Commonwealth, and to the people of the Commonwealth. And that includes England, Australia, New Zealand, wherever she was. And God bless her, she's as strong as ever. And I think this is what upsets me, is that's why I'm 50-50 on the whole Meghan Markle thing, because her brother was recently on VIP, Celebrity Big Brother VIP Australia, and he...
Please don't tell me you watched it.
Yeah, I
did. Of course we did.
Of course we did. But the thing is, there was an episode, if you look at it, which connects it to Meghan and Harry, where he was asked about Meghan, and he even wrote her a letter in the diary room. He wrote her a letter. And I do follow him on Instagram, Thomas Markle Jr. I think he's very, very well spoken, very educated, very smart guy, lovely guy. And the thing is, whether she's your sister or stepsister, writing that letter, it wouldn't have reached them, to be honest. They would have sent it and it would have got rejected and sent back.
Yes, but that's not the point. The thing is, it's been on television.
Yeah.
And they would have watched it on television. And I think that whether it's on an actual physical letter itself, or basically it's on film, all of the press have heard about it, and therefore they have heard about it. I don't think they're completely ignorant to the press. Just like I don't think I absolutely believe that Donald Trump was basically I'm talking about Donald Trump again.
Yes, it's a Megxit episode.
Well, I mean, everyone in Hollywood was watching Big Brother, Celebrity Big Brother, because you had two politicians, one conservative and the other one Democrat, and they were wanting to know what exactly everyone's saying. So if it can reach someone like Donald Trump in an instant, it's definitely going to reach Meghan in some way, shape, or form.
Donald Trump would be the kind of person that if somebody talked about him, he would respond directly. He would respond pretty much instantly. But as far as Meghan is concerned, they would have Buckley's chance of Meghan responding, or because we all knew. I mean, even Stevie Wonder saw that coming.
Yeah.
Everybody knew exactly what was going to happen. We knew that somewhere along the line there was going to be a Meghan question in the VIP Big Brother. I must admit, I didn't watch it because it rated so poorly. I think it was rated 18th out of 20th the whole way through the season, so it didn't exactly rate that well. But anyway, look, the point is,
right.
No,
my point is, she won't respond to it because everybody knew that it was going to be another case of dumping on Meghan again, fairly or unfairly. In this case, unfairly, because Channel 7 knew what they were doing when they brought this guy in. They knew that it was going to happen.
yes. And speaking of dumping on Meghan, here's my next question. Did Meghan want to be more popular than Duchess Catherine?
I think initially, maybe. But then when she realized what royal life is actually like, I think she wanted to be left alone. And especially when she started to become pregnant.
But why marry into the royal family if you knew what you were getting yourself into?
I don't think she fully realized what she was getting herself into, because I think what she saw, which is what we all see, is basically the knight in shining armor, the prince that takes away the princess and everyone lives happily ever after. And I think that's what she saw initially. And then when she woke up to reality to show what it's actually like, she thought, okay, this is all just a really bad nightmare. I need to leave this place so not to make my life a living nightmare for the rest of my days. And I think that's what pretty much happened.
I'm sorry. I think if you go on a blind date to meet a prince.
So I don't think it was blind. I think she knew what she was doing, but I didn't think she realized what it meant to be a princess in an English royal family that's used to telling other people what to do. I don't think she's fully realized what it meant, what the responsibilities that she had. In fact, that's probably the reason why she probably left to go overseas back to America, so she could rediscover her freedoms, yet at the same time do pretty much everything that a royal family member would do, like, for example, set up charities and stuff like that for whatever cause.
But the thing is, that's what I'm saying. If you are already a Hollywood star, self-made millionaire, You go on a blind date and you meet a prince and you fall in love, which is fine. It's normal. It happens to everybody.
No,
Happens to the best of us.
it
We
does
fall
not
in love.
happen to everyone.
But
It
the
happens
thing
to
is,
some people.
yes. But the thing is, you don't go on a blind date, meet a prince, fully knowing he's a prince of England, and then date him in a whirlwind romance, fully knowing he's a member of a royal family and he's loaded, and you suddenly
And he's loaded.
yeah,
That's a weird way to imagine like, because you've just given me an idea. Imagine if Netflix or Paramount or whatever they are choose to do like a new game show called like Prince and Princess Speed Dating or something like that, based on the true life story of Meghan and Harry.
Why don't we just call it Loaded? How about that?
let me
The story of Meghan.
let me throw something random out here. Let me throw a random question, or let me say something random. Now, since we're talking about Megxit, okay, we all have Netflix, we all stream it. Now, movies, Disney movies, princess movies, we're talking about the Princess Diaries 1 and 2. We're talking about the Princess Switch for Christmas. We're seeing movies that Disney makes, feel-good movies when it comes to royal movies, that princes from European nations, and they go to America, they live normal lives, and then they bump into their partners and they marry them. Is the fairy tale of the everyday girl like myself, is it giving girls like me, or women or little girls, again, I'm not here to offend or insult or anger anybody, but is it giving the false narrative that little girls, women everywhere, if you dream large enough, you end up marrying a prince? And most of the girls that they marry are American.
Well, I think maybe a symbolic prince, perhaps, or a Prince Charming. I mean, that narrative is sold around the world, and let's be honest. I mean, like, that's a pretty popular narrative.
Cinderella,
Exactly.
he was a prince.
Well, Cinderella wasn't a prince, unless the woke movement.
Last Slipper, he was a prince.
But it wasn't a he. It was a she.
No, Cinderella married a prince. He put the glass slipper on her foot, right? And you have
The prince put a glass slipper.
Yes,
I think what we're looking at here is more like the Princess Diaries, because of the recent movies. Obviously, I was going to mention the Princess Diaries until you brought it up, because I remember. I think I heard it right. I've never seen the movies, but I did see a trailer once, and I had like Prince William on there. I so totally do, and I was like, no, he's already married. No, but that actually, I think that was a scene in one of those Princess Diaries where that actually happened. But it's just one of those things. I mean, for every young girl who's gonna grow saying I want to marry a prince and stuff like that, man, after what we've seen with the Markle debacle with the royals, game over. It ain't happening.
exactly. Next question. I was doing a bit of research and I had to have Bucket sit down with me and watch a YouTube clips of eerie similarities between Diana and Meghan Markle. Let's take this back a little bit for a moment, shall we? Now, when Prince Harry and Meghan Markle sat down with Oprah and earned, mind you, $74 million for that one large interview, $74 million. And it was broadcast worldwide, around the world, live. Now, if you go on YouTube and you look at similarities between Meghan Markle and the late, great, beautiful Princess Diana, the Princess of Wales, then you'll see the 15 similarities. It's about an 8-minute, 15-second video.
We'll have it in the description just in case.
Yeah, we'll have it in the description. My question is, did Meghan copy the interview that Diana did and just paraphrased the answers back to Oprah, or did Meghan have the same experiences as Diana due to the institution or the royal family not changing? My answer to that is, again, marrying a prince, okay? You sit down with the world-renowned television host such as Oprah, and you give a candid interview, and then your husband shows up and does a candid interview. Now, the way she was dressed, sitting. If you look at it this way, before she married Prince Harry, Surely, to study a role, your future, to research your future role as a duchess, as a member of the royal family. She had books on Diana. She would have researched Diana on YouTube, many video clips, including the panorama interview with Martin Bashir, who later had to apologize because he coaxed Diana into that interview. Surely, and I had this debate with Buckets, surely she would have researched it, and every sentence and paraphrase, everything was identical to Diana. That's why I asked, let me repeat it. Did Meghan Markle copy the interviews that Diana did and just paraphrase the answers back to Oprah? Or did Meghan have the same experiences as Diana due to the institution of royal family?
Okay, so this is what I think. I genuinely think about this. Either she did probably paraphrase it, because there's lots of interviews out there of Diana being institutionalized within the ultimate institution, which was the royal family, and that's probably true. However, I like to see it from the point of view, which is just this one singular fact, which is if Meghan was genuinely happy with the money and all of that, and marry into a royal family, and and all she wanted was just cash, and that's it. Why leave? Why leave? Why skip over to the United States of America if she was genuinely happy staying in a castle and with kids? So I think that she probably had the same experiences as Diana, because the institution hasn't changed. And how that they deal with their princesses and their princesses hasn't changed for a millennia. It probably hasn't changed at all. And she's just experiencing the same problems as Diana. And she, instead of having the same fate as Diana, which is die in a car crash, she wanted to escape and live her own life in her own country where she felt free and safe. Now that's the difference. Or alternatively, she's just bullshitted the whole story to Oprah to get like how much it was,
$74 million.
$74 million deal. And she's basically opened up a Netflix deal for that. But I think that if she was married to Harry and she was genuinely happy and whatever, she wouldn't need to leave England. She would just stay in England. Why would you leave if you were happy?
Well, to be honest, I haven't seen the similarities, so I can't really comment on that. But if she has like done a copy and paste kind of deal, comparing the Diana's speeches to hers, then she's done a disservice to the royals, because everybody knew Diana. Diana was honest and truthful and all that sort of stuff. The difference between, say, Harry and Meghan, obviously, to William and Kate, is Kate and William, they don't get involved in that kind of stuff. They just stay true to the royal. We all knew that William was, going to be the guy. He was going to be the king at whatever at a certain point, because the way that he handles himself was pretty much the same way that the Queen has handled herself throughout her whole life, and also the same way that Diana handled herself, right up until at least 96, and all that sort of stuff. Harry, on the other hand, is taken more like his father's thing, obviously, and the way that Meghan has handled herself is kind of similar to Prince Charles, and also a bit of Camilla, but we don't really see Camilla because Camilla stays out of that stuff. But Meghan and Harry felt, like, we've had enough and we're going to get our words out there. Damn you guys, to hell with what you guys being the press or whatever, to hell with what you guys think. And they're trying to get their message out. And and it does. It reaches a lot of people, and a lot of people will agree with some of the stuff that Meghan and Harry have said. But the royal loyalists will probably want both their heads on a pike. If you said that, how much did they make from that?
74 million.
Yeah, they made some.
To be honest, right, they shouldn't have done that for any money. They should have done that
at all.
Yeah, exactly. They shouldn't have done that for any money at all. So, quite frankly, that interview was basically them to make some money out of.
I think it was. I think it was more than
deal out
that. I think it was not just to be made a lot of money and to sign up a Netflix deal. I think it was genuinely used as an attack on the royal family. And how can you fight someone who's bringing up the sex card, the black card, the pregnant mother card? How can you fight someone who's bringing up all these moral issues? I mean, how do you attack someone who's just about to have a child? How do you attack someone who appears that she's like the victim? You can't. You can't attack these people.
I think in Harry's defense, I think the way that Harry was intending to handle this was to take a shot at the British tabloids and how they've treated the royals, and the royals don't make it their business to go after the tabloids. But I think the way that the tabloids went after Diana was probably the trigger of why Harry is going after him this way now.
You just brought up a valid point, and that's what I wanted to tell you before we finish the segment, is that I think I see two brothers who are at war with each other, right? And their wives are at war. Now, whether that be true or not, and that's fact or fiction, we don't know.
I don't think
the
Kate's
thing is,
well, let's hear your point of view.
But the thing is, right, William has been groomed to be king. William has been given centuries of responsibilities on his shoulders. He's going to be king after his father. His wife will stand beside him as queen consort. So he has a responsibility to defend the royal family, because when they did that interview, they said, oh, it was due to racism. And then they brought out, which was for me the oh my God moment, they shouldn't have said that, was, oh my God, the bombshell was when she looked at Oprah and said they meant that someone in the royal family mentioned if their child, what the color of their child's skin. When I sat back and watched that, I was like, oh my God, this is going to blow up in the royal family's face. This is going to be something that will haunt them for the rest of their lives. And I think if you look at William had time to adapt to missing his mother. And I know he loves his mother very much, but because he's going to be king, he can't show him, he has to be, stiff upper lip, tall,
He can't show emotion.
He can't show emotion. He can't say anything. And I'm sure deep down inside, after 24 years, 25 this year, it's burning him to miss his mother. She's his mother, for goodness sake.
Yeah, do you know what I also think? I think that Harry's been able to get away with basically murder. And William has had to take on the crown.
And the burden of loss.
And that as well. But he's had to take on the crown, and he's not actually allowed to express any sort of emotion with Diana or any of the frustrations with his brother every time his brother gets into trouble. And so it's not a surprise that William would be absolutely seething at his brother, Harry, because he's been able to get away with everything because he's never going to become king. Okay, but William knows that if he did anything like that, they'd cut him in half. They would literally cut him in half. And I think behind the scenes, William is absolutely seething at Harry because he's been able to get away with murder, and he's probably seething about Meghan as well.
Of course,
because they have basically given Meghan everything. Okay, and she's just turned around and and
Spat in their face.
yeah, exactly, and destroyed them. And it's like, well, why are you in our family if this
You
is
have
what
no
you're
intention of
if you're no intention of loving us or unifying with us? Why are you in our family if all you want is just cash?
But the thing is,
I was going to say, right, I would look at it as a different point of view. I think, obviously, you're right. I think William would be, publicly or privately seething, with Harry, the way that Harry's been acting. But I reckon on the flip side, I reckon William was probably secretly thinking the same way, but that's not who he is. He's a royal and he's going to be king someday, and he has to put those emotions aside.
that's right. But Harry, if you look at Harry, when he said to Oprah that he's been to so many counseling sessions, he's spoken to therapists, he's spoken to psychologists or psychiatrists. Thing is, what I wish Harry did was we all get counseling, we all get help, we all talk about our mental health issues, which is important. It really, really is. But he shouldn't have mentioned that publicly on a broadcast television show live around the world saying, oh, my therapist said this, my psychiatrist said this, I've been to counseling, and they've asked me to openly talk about it. No, do not talk about what your counselor or your psychiatrist tell you. That is personal information for you to deal with. But here's the one thing I want to say is that, as you have said, and Buckets have said, William has had time to adjust. Harry, to be honest, was younger than his brother when their mother passed, right? So I don't, deep down inside, again, this is just my opinion, I'm not here to insult anybody or offend anybody, but deep down inside, I don't think Harry has actually grieved the loss of his mother. He's been told, you're a prince, you've got to bottle all that stuff up. You can't show emotion. You have to have a step off a lip. You got charities to go to, photo opportunities, shake hands. You cannot cry in public. You cannot say anything in public. You are to keep quiet. And I think it's gone to a point where after meeting Meghan, he's finally bottled everything up, and without grieving, mentioning counselors and psychiatrists or therapists, I think now he's slowly starting to grieve his mother's loss. I think Harry, being younger, he was in shock for so many years. And he's always said, oh, one foot has been out the door and one foot has been in. So he either wants to be part of the royal family or he doesn't. He wants to do duty, but he doesn't.
I think there might be some file footage somewhere where you actually see Harry, right from 1997, circa 1997, where the anger was in his eyes. You could see it, but he was been bottling it up. And now that he is out over in America, now he's living a quote unquote normal life as best that they can. Now he's seeing that as an opportunity to, get that out of his system, because eventually, there'll be nothing else for him to talk about, and he will get it all off his chest, and he will feel a lot better about it. But unfortunately, a lot of damage is going to be done to the royals and the royal family and the media and the British media and the tabloids. A lot of damage is going to be done before Harry is done.
Exactly. Now, the thing is, I'm secretly wishing and hoping that the brothers talk to each other, whether that's privately on Zoom or via text messages or phone calls, speaks to his brother and tells his wife, listen, I'm part of this family, and I know we have children, but I'm part of this family as much as you are. And it's her influence over him to leave his family, leave his life behind, and start a family with her, bless him. But the thing is that all this power and all this, responsibility, he needs. His grandmother's 95, bless her. May she reign over everybody, may she reign forever. But the thing is, how long is his grandmother going to be alive for? And,
I'd give another 5 years maybe.
He was very upset when Prince Philip died. And when he went to the funeral, we all saw him walking side by side with William and his wife. And they were talking and smiling and laughing. And everyone's going, was this the reunion that we all needed? Is the rift going to close?
But interesting that you said we all needed. Is it really what we needed, or is it what they need? And I think
That's a good point.
I see. The reason why I say that is because I think there has been way too much media attention on the boys and the rest of the family to the point where they haven't properly grieved, as we've discussed. And I think they just need a break from that. And I think they need to sort out their issues, or they're just going to continuously be like any other broken home and continuously fight and bicker and whatever. It's just on a larger scale because they're a royal family, and everyone's wanting to get the goss and the scoop and whatever. And it's just like one big drama on television.
I think the media is playing too much into that, because brothers do argue, brothers do fight. That's the natural evolution. Sisters fight and all that sort of stuff, but they're still family and they still talk to each other. I don't believe that there is that kind of rift there. I believe that this is just all hyped up for the sake of getting a scoop. I don't believe it at all, but I do believe that they do communicate with each other. And I do believe that, like you said, I do believe that they do communicate via Zoom at the moment, because obviously doing international travel right now is just way too risky. So I think, thankfully, the people created stuff like Zoom, Skype and all that sort of stuff. So even if you can't see each other, personally, you can still contact each other by video link, what we're seeing right here.
My last question for this topic is, will we see the Duke and Duchess of Sussex at the Platinum Jubilee of Her Majesty? Will we see them for Trooping of the Colours this year? Will Harry and Meghan make the trek with their children in tow, or will Harry go by himself and celebrate the Platinum Jubilee, or will he be stuck in America due to the pandemic, the ongoing pandemic?
I reckon he'll be stuck in America due to the pandemic. And I don't know if she'll even make her Jubilee, to be honest.
I think she will. She's extended, from what I read, is she's extended an olive branch, an open invitation for them and the children to make an appearance at the Platinum Jubilee. After all, she may be the Queen, Her Majesty, God bless her, but she's his grandmother, and they are her great grandkids. She's entitled to see her great grandkids, So I hope, for their sake, that they go.
But the question is, will the Queen live long enough?
Of course she will.
To see.
Of course she will.
Them. That's the big question.
Her birthday's in what, 3 months, 4 months? She'll be 96.
We'll see what happens. We'll see.
I think another thing we might want to look at, right? Think of it this way: if it was last year, if the Jubilee was last year, you would understand, if they chose not to go, because that was when this pandemic, really started gaining legs, or at least a couple of years ago, I should say. A couple of years ago, if it was a couple of years, it was a couple of years ago, then I would understand them not going, because the pandemic was something new and nobody knew what to do and how to handle it. Now there's more of an understanding on how to handle the pandemic right now. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if Meghan stayed. Meghan and the family might stay, but to be honest, I reckon they will all go, because it's the Jubilee. I reckon they will all go, even if they have the hotel quarantine for 7 to 14 days or whatever it is they do over there in the UK. I reckon come hell or high water, you will see the royal family there, even if it is for one last time.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, before we end the session,
do you want to ask number 8?
Yeah. So my last question, and this is to our new subscribers, current subscribers and viewers that I'd like to welcome. This is for them. So if you're a subscriber or viewer, welcome. This question is for you. To our audience, on behalf of all of us, What do you think? Okay, what do you think? Is Meghan another Wallace Simpson, or did she paraphrase Diana's interview? Is Meghan using too many woke cards against the royal family? What we would like, on behalf of Leon, myself, and Buckets, what we would like you to do is, once the video is up, in our comment section when you subscribe, is to leave us some comments. Okay, leave us some comments and let us know what you think, because your voices and your thoughts and feelings and emotions are very important to us. It carries us. So to the audience, with this question, we'd like to know what you think. And please don't forget to subscribe. There's a little bell there. Make sure you click that, invite your friends, and just leave us some comments, and make sure you keep up with us. Next week, we'll be back with another fresh topic. We are gearing up for a special 2022 cat space. So, what do you think about this topic? And we all hope you had fun watching us and listening to us and letting us know what you think. Thank you, Leon, so much for joining us for the first.
Hey, Jones, you might see more of this template I've got going here. Who knows?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, actually, I even feel like I'm in an oven. It's beautiful.
I feel like I'm on TV.
I mean, all I have
Yeah,
to
it
do
feels
is-
like we're on TV, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think this will be, do you guys like the new template? Let us know. We've got plenty of other topics coming your way for 2022. Happy New Year. Please stay safe. And thank you for joining us today. Until next week, we have another one prepared. We'll see you guys later. Thanks for joining us, Leon. Happy New Year. Bye, guys.
Bye.